went home. I sat on my stairs, looked at my son in the eyes. At this point, he is 4.5 years old. And I said, Holden, what is it that I do that upsets you? Kids have no filter, for good and bad. And he looked at me and he said, your dad voice. Joe, I started crying right there. I knew exactly what he meant. And he was so real with his emotions. It's like, it's all you had to say was your dad voice. And it was going back to what I said earlier. It's like I was ruling by edict. I was demanding respect. And while I still struggle with him, the connection that we have, I'm so blessed because when I give him that space to share with me what's on his mind and what's on his heart, he'll tell me now. He doesn't hold back.
You are listening to Dedicated Joe, the new dad's guide on the upending and transformational experience of becoming a father. Today I have on the show Jason Bronstad. Now, this guy spent years climbing the corporate ladder, became very, very successful executive, and then realized that he wasn't the dad he wanted to be. He shares very vulnerably here about how he wasn't showing up for his kids and his family in the way that he really valued and wanted to be, and made that transition from thinking of himself purely as a business guy to becoming a business guy, but also a real family. Jason is the father of 2. His daughter is 12 and his son is 8. And he's the CEO of Malk Organics. Now, I love these Malk. They're milks and creamers made from a variety of nuts and real organic ingredients. Very tasty, no added fillers. But today we're going to really dive into the deep emotional work he did to become the dad he wanted to be, right? How he learned to listen to his kids, apologize to his kids, how he redefined his role as not just provider, but as real leader in his family. And also how he used somatic breathwork to help him discover this emotional presence and this part of himself he didn't even know was missing. So if you've ever felt like you're crushing it at work, but not showing up at home in the quiet way you want to and want to make that transition, this is the episode for you. All right. Well, great to have you here, Jason.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we met through the Austin food scene, right? We both run natural food companies. And I think our PE firm was like, you guys should talk. You're both in Austin. You're both dads with really cool food companies. And you should talk. We had this great coffee where ended up being all about being a dad. I didn't expect we thought we would talk business, and mostly we talked about what it's like to run a business and be a dad, and your idea that you're a dad first and kind of a business owner second.
Isn't it a shift? Right? Yeah. So many people think that you have to be a business person first, then a parent. But at the end of the day, if you start to stack priorities, what's the most important thing?
Yeah,
it's being a dad, being a husband first for me, and a dad. And I have a business to run. Mm-hmm. And I love getting into conversations with other dads in business because it gives us the opportunity to be real. Because you can always frame up and posture and like, oh, we can talk about business, this and COGS and margin and this. But what really moves you? And I got 2 amazing kids. You've got kids. That's where passion comes in. We can be passionate about business, but at the end of the day, what are you working for? To provide for the family.
Yeah.
So
did you always have that perspective?
No. God, I wish I did. Joe, I spent most of my life thinking that I had to accelerate my career, to do more in my career, and let my wife take care of the home front. I thought that was what my role was. And I struggled because of that, in connection with my bride, in connection with my kids, managing my temper. Like, it was so much that I put so much pressure on myself with work that I had nothing to give my family. And that was tough.
And so say more about the struggle of that. You said you had relationship challenges, you had anger issues.
I would say I'm at 20 years. I'm blessed to be married to my bride for 20 years this year. We waited 7 years to have kids. So my daughter will be 13 at the end of this year, which is a terrifying thought. She's an amazing child. Still have a teenager by the end of this year. We had a very long honeymoon stage, and then we had kids, and it's like, okay, we got kids. Now I have even more of a responsibility to go provide. So it was, what's the next job? What's the next promotion? What's the next thing professionally? So I can make sure the check's coming in to cover the needs at home. And what I didn't realized was so important was, how am I showing up for my wife? How am I showing up for my daughter? And then eventually my son, who was born 3.5 years later after my daughter. And in those moments, like, I would go self-medicate. I would go overeat. I would go drink alcohol. I had a phase where I was smoking cigars. Like, I had all these different things that were coping mechanisms, instead of just understanding that I was really sad because I didn't have the connection I wanted with my wife. I didn't have the connection I wanted with my children. And I was masking all of the pain instead of just saying, man, I'm giving too much on one side. I'm not being efficient at work. I'm stressed at work. I'm just not showing up as the human I want to at home.
What was the thing that had you realize that and make a change?
So a gap in work helped so much. I had an incredible opportunity to take a break, do a little bit of soul searching, and my wife and I went and did a planning trip, which was our kickoff. I had this revelation some time ago. It's like, that was the trip where my wife said to me, go get the right job for you, not the next job for the family. And that started a domino effect of, what is the right job? What is the right balance? What is it that I'm looking for? And it led me to a group of men that I'm a part of in Front Row Dads, and led me into this organization where the mantra is family men with businesses, not businessmen with families. And that mindset shift for me, which was now 5 years ago, was, oh, it can happen this way. I can be a successful businessman and show up at home fully. So that was a pivotal time in my life. And I wish I would have found it earlier. I wish I would have been more aware of what it's possible to live life as a father and run a business.
You paint your wife as being very like understanding and sort of inviting you, like, hey, how about you get this thing that's better for us? Was it like that, or was she also pretty upset with all this time you've spent away?
My wife is the most patient person on the face of this earth. I'm blessed that she's dealt with me through all of my challenges with her. She has such a nurturing heart, and she's always seen the good in people, and she's always seen the possibility and the potential and the opportunity. She always sees the sunny side. And what I say to people is, like, there's always the bright side and there's always the shadow. And she sees the bright side so passionately that it allows others to be the best version of themselves. So, and it caused her to put up a wall against the shadow side. I talked about the drinking and the overeating, and like, she put up walls to protect herself emotionally because I wasn't there fully emotionally for her through a lot of her marriage.
Yeah. But did she complain about that, or ask for more, or criticize you or press you for more?
No, she didn't ever pressure me for more because I didn't give her that opportunity. I didn't give her the freedom to criticize me. I was very like, oh no, this is the way our family's going. I ran our family by edict instead of by a partnership. And the fact that she dealt with that for so long, I'm grateful, because what we have now is what I've always prayed for.
Yeah.
What we have now for the last 5+ years is, and we're working on it every day. We have the level of communication. We have the level of trust where we can, when we have feedback for each other, it's not like, I'm here to criticize you. It's like, hey, this has been going on. You've said this, you've done that. And we don't wait for it to build up and just explode.
Yeah.
Which has happened in the past. Get into fights. I'm going to go sleep in the other room. I'm going to go sleep on the couch, or those dynamics that existed. And those are real in every relationship. Most relationships. It's now in the moment we create the environment where we can have the conversation. Be it like, if it's something we need to address in the moment, we will. But we don't let it just fester and build and just suppress. I always say that men compress, suppress, and repress our emotions. And we just shove it all down because that's what we were taught.
Yeah.
Growing up in the time frame it is, like, no, men don't cry. Men go earn a living, and they are respected by their family. And
did you find Front Row Dads and get that support prior to getting the next job?
So as it worked out, I was in a phase of consulting. when I was introduced to Front Row Dads, a friend of mine, my neighbor, had been in it for a couple of years. He's like, hey, maybe you should check it out. It was never forced. So I joined and started engaging more and starting to meet and find that like there's a lot that can be done if I learned to love myself first. And that was the unlock. Is I had been so focused on trying to be the provider, I hadn't looked inside. I had all those emotions compressed, suppressed, and repressed. I had it all shoved down. I didn't have the space to give my wife. I didn't have the space to share with my kids. I didn't have the ability to withstand the storm of my son's tantrums. He had tantrums just like I did when I was a kid. And when he had those tantrums, my inner child was blowing up like, no, you can't have that tantrum because I couldn't have that tantrum. So all of a sudden, as I started, it's still a work in process. I still struggle with my son because he is me. He is mini me. Yeah. I love him to tears. And, at 8.5, almost 9 years old now, he is mini me to a T. He has an opinion. He wants what he wants, and he's not going to settle for less. And what I've learned is how important it is to have the ability to give him the space. We just got off vacation. The last breakfast we ordered on vacation, all he wanted was bacon and eggs. And they served the dish with bacon, eggs, and potatoes. He asked at ordering, he's like, I just want bacon and eggs, no potatoes. We go to pick it up. It has potatoes in it. He opens it. He went, I'm not eating that. I said, well, then you need to use your words. I'm not going to fix this for you. Mm-hmm. He went back to the lady and said, I asked for no potatoes. You've got an 8.5-year-old and an adult having a conversation. She's like, well, the ticket didn't say that. He's like, I won't eat this with potatoes. And she went, okay. She took it back. She picked the potatoes out. He was good to go. And 7 years ago, had that same situation happen, I would have been the dad like, no, you got it. You'll eat it. Instead of going, no. He has a clear perspective on what he wants. It's not unrealistic because he did order it that way. Mm-hmm. Let him fix it.
And you came to that because you started to realize your own needs were valuable, and now you could let him value his needs.
Yes. I love that. That's a great way to express it.
Yeah. It's such an interesting concept for dads because it's sort of counterintuitive. There's all this pressure to serve. There's all this judgment of dads or as men as being selfish. Like we only care about ourselves and we don't care about the family. We don't care about women and we're just trying to get ours. So no dad wants to be like that. So the flip side of that is like the opposite, like self-sacrificing, like martyr, work all day long, come home, help with the stuff, do the kids, do the honeydew projects, help with the wife, work on the house on the weekends, no time for ourselves. And so there's, and that what you're describing is this middle ground of like, I'm not checked out, I'm not selfish, but I'm also not self-sacrificing. I find place for myself and also in service.
I think all humans need to create the time for themselves and understand who they are at their core and understand what their needs are and what recharges them. Because to your point, yes, there's many dads, I'd say a lot of dads out there that feel like they have to go work. And then when they get home, it's like all this other stuff, the honey-do list. And the reality is everyone recharges differently. Some do it through physical exertion. Some do it through weight training, jujitsu. Some just need time in nature. Some just need silence. Some need community to recharge. Mm-hmm. And I think the real unlock is when you understand what it is that recharges you and have those realistic conversations with your partner and say, I need this to show up as my best version for you and for the family.
And you run a fast-paced business. You have 2 kids, family, probably other stuff. What do you do to recharge? How do you find time for it?
So definitely physical exertion through jujitsu for me is a big unlock. When I found jujitsu going back to 6 years ago now, it was the first time that I could do something where my brain wasn't going, what do I need to do at work next? What does the family need next? What do I need to do at home? It was literally allowed me to do something and think about nothing else, which uniquely allowed me to get past some mental blocks. If I was stuck on a problem and I went and trained jujitsu for an hour and a half, I'd come back and all of a sudden I had some clarity in my thought. Because there's something that unlocked, however it works in our bodies, that after that physical exertion, it's like, oh yeah, I'm too tired to resist whatever I'm resisting inside. What if we did this? What if we did that? Huge unlock for me. I've also remembered that time in nature is so important to me. I grew up in the outdoors, hunting with my dad, with my brother. And it was in those times in silence and nature that was like, oh, this actually is energizing for me. It allows me to go back refreshed.
Yeah, nature's huge for me too. I was going to say that just and then being blessed to be in Austin with trails everywhere.
So great.
It doesn't have to be long, like 15 minutes, 20-minute walk in the woods. So recharging. Be interesting. You say being stuck. A lot of people, if they're stuck on something, they want to push hard or try hard, especially men. We would like force our way through it.
Of course.
What you describe as like, oh, take a step away from it and the idea will come or the solution will come.
It's so powerful and we forget that, right? And it's because, and I go back to the compress, suppress, repress. When we are so full of either tension or anxiety or thoughts or anger or stress that we get locked up in our thoughts, we get locked up in our actions, we become more reactive instead of proactive.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're able to go physically move your body, you're able to go out, get some fresh air. Offices are fine. And I love nature, right? There's nothing, I love Austin. I loved it when I was in college here. Just go for a kayak. Go to Town Lake, go on the kayak for an hour. You're in the water. Water's always moving. You got the trees around you. You forget that you're in the middle of a city that has 2 million people. And you can be with your own thoughts. It's peaceful.
How did your kids adapt to having this sort of new version of you?
So my son, I'll never forget. It was shortly after I joined Front Row Dads. There was a gentleman that I met in that group, and he shared proudly, he's like, I now have a scream-free household. And this guy, he's 6'7". He's got 3 daughters. And I said, how did you do it? He's like, I actually got down on my kids' level and I had a conversation with them. So after that conversation with Matt, I went home, I sat on my stairs, looked at my son in the eyes. At this point, he is 4.5 years old. And I said, Lynn, what is it that I do that upsets you? Kids have no filter, for good and bad. And he looked at me and he said, your dad voice. Joe, I started crying right there. I knew exactly what he meant. And he was so real with his emotions. It's like, it's all he had to say was your dad voice. And it was going back to what I said earlier. It's like I was ruling by edict. I was demanding respect. And while I still struggle with him, the connection that we have, I'm so blessed because when I give him that space to share with me what's on his mind and what's on his heart, he'll tell me now. He doesn't hold back. I used to generate so much fear, like, oh no, dad's getting upset, or if you do that, dad will get upset. Think about that anxiety that we instill in our children if we bring that persona home. Oh, and look, it's for all the right reasons. I was a bit of an asshole at times. And my wife would prep them like, hey, dad had a rough day. Just be gentle around him. She knew. I didn't. I wasn't aware of how I was showing up. And she would prep them and try to protect them, as moms do. So that relationship has led to, we can now actually have a talk. And so long as I keep the dad voice out of it and I remain calm, which is a challenge, we can have a real conversation. I never thought you could have a real conversation with an 8.5-year-old. You can. They'll tell you everything, whether you want to hear it or not.
Or a 4.5-year-old, apparently.
Or a 4.5-year-old at the time. Yeah. And Joe, it's taken time to continue to build trust with him.
So the dad voice is like it's all about me, or it's like tense, or it's controlling, or what's the?
It is the authoritarian voice that is like, enough of the BS, do this now. Complete domination. Yeah. And it's a learned thing, right? We learned that from somewhere. My dad had a phenomenal dad voice. My dad carried the stress of generations. He carried the responsibility to take care of. And I had a phenomenal childhood. I'm very blessed. My parents are still together to this day, 52 years later. And there's things that I want to do a little differently. And you know what? It took me a long time to be able to get comfortable saying that.
Yeah. You think, you talked about sort of your own inner child's difficulty with tantrums or feelings. You think some of that yelling at your son or the domination of your son was also like you're kind of dominating your own inner child?
I wouldn't let my inner child speak. I wouldn't let my inner child have the emotions because I didn't feel as a child that I was allowed to have emotions. I didn't know that I could have emotions. I don't even know if I knew I was having emotions. I knew that my place in the household at that time was to listen and respect. I didn't know how to use my words.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so sad. I have been working through these memories of, we had this rule that you couldn't, my memory is you couldn't have emotions at the dinner table. I'm sure the rule was like you can't cry or whine or complain or something. I don't know what it was, but I just have memories of being sent away from the dinner table and told I couldn't come back till I was happy.
Ooh.
And I've started to process this memory of like really young, probably 3, 4 years old, of in my room learning to repress my learning to go become happy so I could be brought back to the dinner table, and how deep that goes and learning to feel. And for now, my daughter's 6.5. I've been telling her for 6.5 years, it's okay to have her feelings. It's okay to just be sad. It's okay to be angry. And I'm just now starting to realize, I need to say that to myself. Like I haven't fully felt my own feelings in that way. It sounds like you had a similar journey.
Very similar. And the question that I've learned to ask is, am I parenting my child or am I parenting my inner child? I remember similar, so not go but wait till you're happy, but I'll never forget at least 2 different times where I would storm off to my room and I would slam that door, and for all intents and purposes, that door should have broken. And feedback coming around is, don't ever slam this door again. And it was unequivocally in the dad voice. And it was way my inner child translated that was, you can't show emotion. Just not, I could have, if I had chosen a way to use my words, or if I had calmed down and come back and said, hey, I was feeling this, or the way that situation happened and made me feel like, I didn't know how to use those words.
Mm-hmm.
My parents would have accepted it. I didn't know that.
Now they teach us it's okay to be angry. It's not okay to slam doors. It's okay to be angry. It's not okay to hit people.
Correct.
Do you want to hit a pillow? Do you want to draw? So, but our parents didn't have that training, that language of knowing how to say that.
I mean, our parents were brought up by people that went through World War II.
Yeah.
They went through the Great Depression. I mean, it was a different time and place. And without them, we wouldn't be here. So I'm grateful for that. And there, like I said earlier, there are things that I desire to do differently.
Are you parenting your child or your inner child? I guess to me, it's always both, basically. Like my child is an expression of my inner child. And if I'm treating one way, I'm going to end up treating the other that way. Is that sort of what you were saying?
I think that's, again, a beautiful expression of that thought. I've got to the point where there are roadblocks that I'll hit in parenting, and then it takes some meditation and be like, why am I hitting a roadblock? And unequivocally, I can go back to, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old Jason and go, oh yeah, I went through something really similar to this, and I didn't know how to process it. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I've been fortunate to find somatic breathwork and to find a great somatic breath coach, and going through that process just to get deeper into a meditative state to figure out what is it that I'm suppressing, compressing, repressing. Where is it? And what is the truth? Because there's what he said, what she said, what really happens. If you can get back to your inner truth, be like, was this memory, why am I holding on to this memory? What does it serve? Is it serving me? How could it serve me better? How can I learn from this? So there's a lot of growth that I feel I've had the opportunity to move forward with over the last several years through different modalities, somatic breath coach, men's groups, things of that nature.
So with the breath work, you do that when you're triggered, like when you're having a strong feeling?
So let's see, half a dozen times I've had the opportunity to work with a somatic breath coach. And every single time it's it's a conversation going into it. What am I dealing with in the time? And then through the breath work, it's like, what is the release? What is the opportunity? So there are people that will find release through going ayahuasca, different plant medicine journeys. For me, it's somatic breath work.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable with that.
Works similarly.
It works similarly, my understanding. I know people that have gone through all different modalities of inner child work. For me, somatic breath work is one that it works.
So in the moment, I'm guessing the dad voice didn't just go away overnight. So what do you do when the dad voice comes out?
Yeah, I wish it would go away overnight. I still struggle every day with it. I say every day. Weekly, there are times when I'm like, take the breath, slow down. Does this need to be handled in the moment? And most of the time, I find myself returning to the stairs, sitting down and asking my son, like, can we talk about this?
In the same spot where he first told you?
I just had that realization. Like, a lot of times I go back to that same spot because I'm still a lot taller than him. So that's just one of the spots that I've found. I will go sit down and ask Holden, it's like, will you come talk to me for a minute? And what I need to continue to do is show him that when he shares with me authentically, whether I like what he has to say or not, that I can maintain control of my emotions. And just the other night, my wife was out of town and my son had left all the lights on in his bathroom. So I asked him to come to his bathroom. I said, hey, I would really like for you to turn the lights off at night. I said, did I get upset? Did I get angry? And I'll say, did I use my dad voice? And our tone is so important in how we communicate. And it was at the very calm tone. He's like, no, you didn't. I said, okay, I just want to be clear on what my expectations are. My expectations are this. Will you tell me what you understand? And asking him what he understands, and the same with my daughter. These are my expectations. Can you play back to me? Can you do a read back on what you understand? Because the reality is our kids their brains aren't fully developed. Yeah. It's going to take them 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 times for them to start to understand what we expect if we give them the why. So I think it's so important to give them the why. And then, a kid's instinct, yeah, I understand, Dad. Okay, tell me what you understand. And when they can play back with what your expectations are, the likelihood of the acceptance and adherence is a terrible expression. The likelihood that they will follow through on what your expectations are, I think, are greater.
Cooperation. They want to cooperate. They want to. They like to follow through with their agreements.
We all want to understand the why. Mm-hmm. Our employees want to understand the why. Our investors want to understand the why.
Yeah, the spirit of something.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you find yourself, you have used the dad voice, do you apologize or acknowledge it, or does your son have a way to tell you?
There have been times that he will give me the side eye, like, dad voice. I'm like, didn't need to hear that right then, but thank you. And I do apologize to my children frequently. And I apologize with intention. I will go to them, it's like, I did not show up as the dad I wanted to in that moment. If I could go back, this is how I would approach that. This is what I was trying to say, and I did not regulate my emotions before I react. And it goes back to the why. Why did I react that way? Well, if I can explain why I reacted, because inner child Jason is like, oh no, Dad uses dad voice. I really screwed up. It's on me. So for years I would self-burden with like, oh no, I'm the one that messed up. It's my fault. As a recovering Catholic, good Catholic guilt. It's one of those things that it's like, no, I just want to understand the why. What actually happened? Mm-hmm. Having a daughter going through puberty in this time. Like, whoa. There are times where the reactions are just visceral. And I'll have the conversation. I'll give her a chance to calm down. Be like, what were you really feeling in that moment? And then it's a conversation. But I've got to be present enough in my emotions to be able to handle their emotions. Yeah,
the apologizing is such a huge tool. I don't remember my parents or any adult ever apologizing to me. I'm sure it happened probably, but it was certainly not. I mean, my wife and I apologize to our daughter almost every day. It's not quite every day, but we make a lot of mistakes, and learning to apologize for that is huge. And her modeling that, her seeing that model, and her hearing that respect, and just accepting that we're not perfect, we make mistakes. Most of the things I apologize for are similar to your dad voice. It's a speaking in a sharp tone. I think my parents were mostly exasperated most of the time. I think they lived their lives from an exasperated place. And so a lot of what they said to me was from an exasperated place. And so I was blessed with a daughter who has almost no tolerance for that. Like, she is so sensitive that if you snap at her or like give her some impression that she's upset you, she's like, everything stops, meltdown, cannot keep going. So it's like, and usually it's something I want her to do. And now not only is she not doing the thing, but she's in tears about it. It's like, I have to accept, like, oh, I created that. Like, I wanted her to do the thing, instead of like be nice and explain the why and all these things you say, I instead like, will you just get up the stairs or whatever? And then now she's crying. And so I have to like stop and apologize for that. And it's very meaningful for her, to hear that.
So if we were to go back in time 60 years and have this conversation with parents, like, no, actually you have the opportunity to apologize to your children. It'd be like, are you out of your mind? That child should do as I say.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Well, our generations, like, we're trained and we're conditioned generationally on how things operate. What a cool opportunity we have to shift the way our kids will have the opportunity to parent. How much greater will our emotional bandwidth be in 50 years from now? I get excited about that. I think about, if my kids choose to have kids, how might they show up and continue to accelerate the connection and the way that we treat each other as humans?
I think that's a great thing to be motivated by, and it's why it was so key to telling my daughter it was okay to have her feelings and make sure that she grows up healthy in that way and treats her kids that way. I think what I'm starting to realize is the liberatory opportunity for my own self. Even if she doesn't learn anything, even if she never repeats it to her kids, I am going to be more emotionally available and aware and happier and living my life more, which is what you're saying. You feel your feelings, you can let them feel theirs. But it's a big shift. I wasn't prepared for that. Like, I wasn't, if you're going to have a kid, and one of the things you're going to have to do is feel all your feelings all the time. It's like, oh, really?
If you're not prepared to feel your emotions, you're in a world of hurt with kids, because they will test and they will pull every heartstring that you didn't even know is locked up. Mm-hmm. They'll find a way to unlock it.
Sounds like you did repress it for many years, but it took a huge toll, both even on your body. It almost sounded like that you.
Most of my life, I was significantly over. I was over 300 pounds for a lot of my adult life. Wow. And it was through trying to hide my emotions through food and alcohol and that was my approach. I didn't have a good workout routine. I didn't know how good I could feel if I worked out. I didn't know that that's what my body needed. I would go to the booze. I'd go to beer and alcohol and food. And when that change started and I started to feel better about who I was, instead of just putting a wall up, it's like, oh no, I'm successful in business, I don't need to be healthy. It started to shift. And what I started to find, Joe, is as I got healthier, as my confidence grew into who I was, oh, by the way, I was learning how to love myself, maybe for the first time. Really? It's like, actually, this is who my wife fell in love with, is this person that I didn't even know I could love. She saw something in me that I didn't even know was in me.
It's patient enough for it to come all the way out.
And every day she helps me to find who I am. And we continue to build who we are. We continue to evolve as parents. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty in being a dad. Right?
Well, why'd you decide to be a dad? What did you think you were going to get from that?
Oh, man. Deciding to be a dad is like, I need to carry on the family name. We've got a strong lineage. We immigrated from Norway in the 1870s. We got a strong name. Let's continue to have strong Bronstads. That was my mindset.
It's like, I need an heir.
I need an heir. 100%. I need an heir. And, when we found out we were pregnant with a daughter, and I always wanted a daughter, I'm like, okay, now I got to have a son. Got to have a son. Got to have a son. I was so focused on trying to build a legacy of my name that I didn't think about the legacy that I was building. Right? I wasn't showing up the way that I wanted to. I didn't know that at the time. I thought I was just doing the right things and going to work and building a career, because that was success. And truly the success is who our humans are that we create. And we have such an influence on that, such an influence in who they are, how we communicate with them. It goes back again to communicating the why. There's so many times in my life I wish I knew the why. And I wish I would have accepted. I wish inner Jason, childhood Jason, would have known that, hey, sharing your emotions is okay. I've always been an emotional guy. Like, I'll cry at movies. I'd hide it. But I always had that deep pull of emotional depth that I hid.
Yeah.
I put the wall because I had to be a tough guy.
Yeah.
Completely repressed.
Yeah.
And now my daughter will make fun of me. She's like, "You crying again, Dad?" Like, it's a really good movie. Like, it really touched my heartstrings. You know, it's, we just got back from a trip celebrating my in-laws' 50th wedding anniversary. I went to a luau, and they're up there celebrating all the anniversaries. And, you know, I'm watching my in-laws on the center of the stage of the luau, and I've got tears rolling down. Because it is truly a beautiful thing to see that level of connection. And to have my parents at 52 years, my in-laws at 50 years. And, you know, I have aspirations that my children potentially in 30 years will have kids at our 50th wedding anniversary.
Yeah. What was the pregnancy times for both kids was during while you were still working and checked out? What were the pregnancies like for you?
So a microcosm of pregnancy for my daughter. When my wife was 7 months pregnant, so this was 2012.
Yeah, very pregnant.
She was very pregnant.
Yeah.
So my daughter was born in December. The month of October, I slept at my house 5 nights. I was on the road 26 nights because that was my job, was to provide. I look back on that and go, I am so grateful that my wife put up with me for that. I mean, I traveled more miles that month than I ever have before. When my son was born, I had a business trip. He was born on a Tuesday. The Thursday before, I'm like, I'm going to do a day trip to Florida. I almost didn't make it home because there was a dynamic with air traffic control in Chicago. This is July of 2016. Ended up, we got the last 2 seats from Florida to Dallas, got a rental car from Dallas to Austin because I told my wife I'd be home by midnight. I got to the house at 12:30 in the morning. So in retrospect, I would not have traveled that much when my wife was that pregnant with my daughter. I never should have taken that trip when she was that pregnant with my son. I prioritized work over my family.
Was she planning to be induced on that day? Like you knew?
Yeah, there was an induction, and she went early with my daughter.
Right, so it could have been early.
It could have been early.
You could have been while you were there, and you would have been stuck.
So you
sort of missed it, I guess, is the short version of both pregnancy and the births. You were there.
I was an absentee husband, unequivocally at those times, because my role as a husband was to provide, not to provide financially, to provide monetarily. And I realized so much more how important it is that we provide emotionally to our partners.
How did she get through that? What did she do without you?
She's resilient. You know, even when I was present, I wasn't present. My mind was on work. So I would love to ask her that question. In fact, that's a prompt I'll probably ask her tonight. Like, how did you deal with me being absent? Like, I was physically there, but mentally I wasn't.
And postpartum too, like that, at the time after the baby comes, did you go right back to work? Did you take some time off?
No, I took no time off. I mean, maybe a day or two. And the way that we dealt with postpartum, literally, it's like I would get home from work and she's like, the kids are yours. I'm out of here. Be it just to go to the grocery store or go to a movie. We didn't address it as a couple. It was segmented. It's like, kids are yours.
Yeah.
I'm done with them for the day. Deal with it.
And you didn't resist that. You didn't say, I can't do that. I worked all day.
No, I just cracked another beer.
You just said, okay,
It's like, I got the kids. I'll have a beer and I'll yell at them probably. And I did. And it's like, no, go to bed, or no, he's crying, or she's crying. I didn't show up. I wasn't a terrible dad. I don't think.
You survived it.
We survived.
Yeah, you got through it.
But it wasn't a highlight of my life. Like, to go back, there are cherished moments that I missed. There's no doubt. And I spend every day trying to make up for those. And I truly pray that men that are choosing to be fathers now with young children can find a way to embrace the small moments. Mm-hmm. Even when the kid's having a tantrum at a restaurant, embrace it. I didn't have the tolerance for my kid to have a meltdown because I didn't have the space to give them. And I continue to work on that. I take time to myself now. I go on men's retreats. I will, do tough things that I need to create space so that I can be as present as possible when I show up in full husband and dad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we think our goal is to not feel, if that's the unconscious message we got is to not feel, then like at worst, we can't let our kids feel because then they're triggering feelings in us. I at least knew that she should be allowed to feel. So I spent years letting her feel, but then me still not trying not to feel it. So it was like this sort of robotic, yes, it's okay to be sad. Yes, it's okay to cry, and at best I could get the words out. And then at worst I would like do that. And then if it didn't work, I would be out of there. I'd have to take a break or run away. And so now it's like, okay, if I realize that my job is to feel as much as she does, her job is to teach me to feel. Now it's like a whole different thing. It's like if she's upset and I'm feeling that discomfort with it, it's like, okay, now that's the point.
Yeah.
Is now I can feel with her. I can connect with my inner child and let him feel with her, as if she was his sister or friend or something. And that's the real work.
Yeah. And look, they are us. We gave them our genetics. We gave them our DNA. And the struggles they have are struggles that we might not have ever dealt with. So It is a dual healing if we can be present with them when they're having the emotions. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite expressions that I've learned is, I bet you wish.
It's a nice one.
I bet you wish you could have another donut.
Yes.
Or I bet you wish we could have donuts every day. That'd be great, wouldn't it? When I was your age, I would have liked that too. And the reason that we don't do that is, we actually need to nourish our bodies with food, not poison it with sugar.
Yeah, there's a book, How to Talk So Kids Will Listen and Listen So Kids Will Talk. Really old, but classic book. And one of the tools they have in there is the what else do you want game. So sort of having fun with the desire rather than just being the no person all the time. Like, oh, you really want ice cream? Yeah, if you could have that, what else would you have? Yeah. And then what would you have? And what else would it take? And turning it into kind of a game. And obviously there's still the boundary, but it's less negative.
Well, there's borders and boundaries, right? I mean, boundaries can be moved. Borders are permanent. Mm-hmm. So what are the boundaries that you're setting at that time? Because it is all phases. Mm-hmm. One of my son being the younger child, which I was a younger child as well. So I'm like, I bet you wish you could stay up as late as your sister. Yeah, she's 12. Why does she get to stay up 30 minutes later? Mm-hmm. I bet you wish when I was your age, I always wanted that too. In fact, my parents would tell my older brother to go to bed and lay there for a few minutes so I thought he was going to bed. Instead of simply saying, he's older, he's going to stay up later. That's it. That is the truth. You're younger, your body needs more sleep. And when he's an absolute nightmare to wake up in the morning, it's like, you seem like you're tired. Are you tired? I'm exhausted. What might we do differently? I know, Dad, I need to go to bed earlier. That's your words, not mine. So it's one of those things, it's like talking through that challenge because it is so much about my son is me. And then there's moments that I just see my wife too. It's like, he's a night owl. My daughter's early to bed, early to rise. That's me. My son likes to stay up late and sleep in. That's my wife. And you start to see these intricacies about what we've passed on to our children. And instead of changing it, it's like, okay, I see it. So we now we'll have a discussion like school nights, lights are out at 8. Weekends, you can read till 8. And some nights, if they've had a great day, you can read till 8:30, but the lights have to be off at 8:30. You don't have to go to sleep, but lights are off. Give you the opportunity to sleep. And with my daughter, it's a similar situation. It's like, the conversation with her is different now. It's like, what do you need to do in the morning? And then how much time do you need for that? So if we're leaving, we need to leave tomorrow at 7:20 in the morning to get you to school instead of the normal 7:40. What do you need to do differently? And now my daughter will make her own lunch at night and take a shower at night, or you know what? I'm tired. I'm going to get up at 5:30 and take a shower in the morning. Okay. If that's what you need, great.
Teaching that problem solving for them and helping them get their needs met and being adaptable, so different than the dad voice. This is how it must be, and
go to bed now.
Do it because I said, even though it's really not because you said it, so that they could have these results that they actually want.
Yeah.
So even that stuff is for their best interest, but now how different that is.
Yeah. And I found different tools to encourage behaviors. One of the things we did a few years ago is we got them onto an app. I think it's now Acorn. It used to be GoHenry, but it's a way that they can earn money by adding value to the household. And it's not a lot per task. Like if they make their own lunch for school, I think it's 50 cents a day.
Interesting.
Okay. I'll pay 50 cents a day to not make that.
Money as a motivator to
an
insignificant amount of money, but as a symbolic, this is adding value.
It adds value, and we shift the responsibility. Oh, you were invited to so-and-so's birthday party. Congratulations. If you want to go to the birthday party, you are responsible for buying the gift. So you can earn money. My daughter wanted to earn money to go and buy souvenirs on the trip. So she earned money with a purpose in mind. So setting the expectations, like if they did every single thing I put on that list on a weekly basis, my daughter could earn like $100 a week. I will pay them to listen to a TED Talk, a kid-friendly TED Talk, so long as they share what are the 3 things they learned. I don't want them on YouTube.
And then the way they're spending the money is things that maybe you would have paid for them anyway. You bought them the souvenir. You would have bought the birthday present. So it's kind of neutral from a financial perspective. But from them, they get to feel.
And the best thing is when they run out of money. Because they've spent all their money. Like, I want this. I'm like, okay, cool. How would you like to add value to the household?
Yeah. I wonder about, there's different schools of thought on paying kids to do chores or to contribute. Like, should they be motivated to do it by their own sense of connection to the household rather than from the money? How do you navigate that?
There's standard expectations, like keeping the room clean, helping with the dishes, helping to cook. Those are all standard. Like, we just do this. This is part of our core family of what we do. And when you go above and beyond what the core expectation is, there's an opportunity to create value to yourself. And ultimately, what the desire is to show them that when they add value to people's lives, that they have an opportunity to add value to their bank account. Oh, you want to watch the neighbor's cat while they're out of town? Well, that's adding value to them that generates into money for you. So it helps to hopefully spur that entrepreneurial mindset of like, oh, I'm really good at this.
I also can see some habit building, whatever motivates you to, drink water first thing in the morning or, pack your lunch the night before instead of in the morning. Like, there's some habits that even when they grow up and they're not paid to do it by you, they still know how to do it. They're in the mode of doing it. So that's interesting. How old do they need to be before they can start that?
Well, I've got friends that have started their kids as early as 5 years old.
They can use the app, or they just...
They can use the app, so the parents can set it up. They can set it up on their phone. My daughter now has a phone.
Yeah.
And my son we have an old Apple phone that it's not on cellular.
Right.
You can do Wi-Fi only, and it's set up on there. So it's a dumb phone for all intents and purposes. Like, that's the only app on there.
He can use it for YouTube or whatever.
He could. We prevent him from being on YouTube.
Okay.
He would be on it all day if he could. Minecraft videos and the like.
Yeah.
And it's an opportunity to say, you have these desires and wants. Cool. What are you going to do to go achieve that? My son is focused right now. Like, he is convinced he wants an Apple Watch, and he's like, how much does it cost? How much do I need to earn to do that? I'm like, it's not just the cost of the product. It's the ongoing monthly cost associated with it as well. He's like, well, how much is that? And I showed him. He's like, that's a lot of money. I'm like, yes, it is. So there's that awareness and that teaching. My brother started mowing lawns. He had to have been 12 and I was 9. So I started, earning money at that point. And I, would watch my brother buy a lot of CDs at the time. And I'd sit there, I'm like, man, that's a lot of money on just music. I didn't get it at the time. And I'm generally more frugal. So I would earn up money. And when I was a teenager, my money was for dates. It's like date nights. This is what it's about.
Yeah. So you clearly found a lot of different resources, the Front Row Dads being a resource. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So Front Row Dads was originally founded, I think, in 2016. And I think now we're somewhere around 350, 370 members across multiple countries. And there's 6 online events a year, and it continues to evolve. Generally, I'm a part of the VIP group, and we do 2 live events a year. I think there's 3 options this year now, but it's an opportunity to take a break from your life, to focus in with other men that want to get better at being a better husband, being a better dad, being better in business. All of those are tackled in the conversations, and it's with guys that are either entrepreneurs or leaders in companies. I always joke, I said, I'm one of the W-2 dads, because while there may be 350, let's say that there's 50 of us that are W-2 dads. The rest have started their own companies. Many have exited their own companies. And it goes back to the fact that surround yourself with people that you want to be around, that are doing things that you want to do or aspire to do, and get in that community. Be a part of that. It doesn't have to be a men's group. It doesn't have to be a mastermind. It can be your spiritual community. It can be your church community. Find a group that will support you and, I think, arguably more importantly, challenge you.
Just men getting together, talking to each other in a vulnerable way. Like my dad never did that. He had friends and they'd hang out and drink and talk about nothing, or work on stuff and work friends. But like maybe they'd complain, or maybe if one of them was in like a real crisis, they'd have a heart to heart. But like this, like regular sharing feelings or sharing struggles or talking about what's hard or asking for help. But it's like, I feel like just any version of that for men can be really useful.
And we had a phenomenal conversation over breakfast.
Yeah, exactly.
And we got real fast. And you have to have people that are willing to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
You find it. And so Front Row is something they could look at. That they could just go online and
Front Row Dads. What I always encourage people to do is go find a podcast or 2, listen to the topics, listen to the type of conversation, and if that spurs some passion inside of you, there's paths to take on the website to check it out. Anytime I've got friends that are interested, I can bring in occasionally a guest into one of our online summits, and I've done that before. And not everyone joins, and okay, that's great.
That's cool.
You want to be a part of it. They'll never allow a membership to be gifted to anybody. It's got to be a desire from within of that human to want to be a part of it.
Yeah. What are some other resources you really liked?
Man, there's always phenomenal guests that are brought into these summits, anywhere from a Gary Brecka to I'm going to draw a blank on all of them at this point since you put me on the spot. The headline is that the guests are brought in to spur the conversations for the breakout groups in the Zooms or the breakout groups in person.
Yeah.
And it's in those breakout groups, when you're willing to open up and be vulnerable, that you will find the most eye-opening conversations you've ever had. There's a group of us that for the last several years have gone on what we call our adventure trips. We've gone off the grid in Montana. We've gone kayaking up in, we actually started in Maine and started in New Hampshire and kayaked over to Maine. We've gone hiking in Olympic National Park, where we'll go do extremely hard things and have conversations in the process. So I'm filling my bucket in many ways. I'm out in nature.
That's nice.
I love that. I'm being challenged.
Yeah, you're with dads.
Physically.
Yeah.
I'm being challenged mentally. And I'm surrounded by guys that want the same thing. They want to show up better as a husband, as a father, and as a businessman.
Yeah. And how about like books or podcasts or things like that?
So I am obsessed with podcasts. Jocko Willing podcast, the Front Row Dad podcast, Tim Ferriss podcast, Andrew Huberman podcast. I love to learn. I love history. I love military history. That's some of the Jocko Willing dynamic. And he's got his own echelon front leadership training, which I've implemented at Malk, based on extreme ownership, right? Own your world. You can either be a victim or you can actually go own it and say, you know what? This is my world. I've created what I'm in, be it positive or negative, and I'm going to find a way to go make it better. So leaning into those opportunities. When I'm in nature, I don't do great in silence. So a lot of times when I'm in nature going for a walk, I'll have a podcast in my earbuds and just walking, and it allows me to absorb differently. If I'm driving, I've got a podcast on. My kids, taking them to school, there's a Kid News podcast, Nuzs, I think, Kid News. And it's a 7-minute daily snip. And now my kids ask for it. Like, they want to know what's going on in the world.
That's cool. So it's news, but it explained for kids.
Exactly.
Oh, but my daughter would like that.
Oh,
she's always asking about what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so Malk,
Yes.
you run this amazing company. Tell us about this product.
So Malk Organics was originally founded in 2015. I didn't join the organization until 2020. It is a clean, simple ingredient, organic plant-based milk. There's no gums, oils, fillers, additives, carrageenans, anything that might disrupt your gut biome. It is as close to nature as possible. It's organic almonds, water, and pink Himalayan salt in our unsweet almond. It is simple.
And there's lots of almond milks, cashew milks, nut milks, but you're saying that the other ones thicken it with this stuff that's not really food?
So correct.
Yeah.
If you think about the origins of plant-based milks, people were trying to convert people from dairy milk to something other than dairy. So how do you do that? You try to mimic the texture, taste, feel, mouthfeel, everything about it. The reality is, to do that, you're going to have to use different binders and fillers to keep it in solution to try and make it taste like something it's not.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. In every category you shop, baby food, kid food, plant-based milks, there's a value tier, there's a mainstream tier, and there's a premium tier. And there's a reason that premium tier exists, because people are beginning to demand higher quality foods time and time again to nourish their bodies in a way that allows them to be the best version of themselves.
Yeah. So you're saying Malk isn't trying to be cow's milk. It's a delicious beverage in and of itself that could, in some cases, be used like you'd use cow's milk, like in cereal or a smoothie.
100%.
But it's not trying to mimic it, and you're not going to add artificial stuff to get it to mimic it.
We're not trying to convert consumers from dairy to plant-based. We know that there's a massive community of plant-based milk consumers. We want to provide those consumers the best quality possible.
There's a lot of people who can't drink milk for various reasons, and there's the kind of lactose intolerant or dairy allergies, and then there's obviously all the people who want to do it for moral reasons or whatever. But so you guys don't have a position that plant-based milk is better than cow's milk?
We still have dairy in my household.
Yeah.
We have cheese. Occasionally we'll have, cow's milk in there. The reality is we've shifted our food consumption. It really starts back when I started to pursue a healthier lifestyle before I joined Malk, and I wanted to become a healthier version of myself. We started to pay attention to what we brought into the house. We looked at the actual ingredients and products. And as my wife gave me the permission to find the next job that was right for me and not just the next paycheck for the family, it became ever important in the conversations I had with different companies that I was pursuing. And it's when I had the opportunity to meet the founder of Malk and understand the genuine origin of Malk and what we stand for, it's like, this is it. This is the type of company that I can proudly serve, I can proudly grow. And it's the first company, Joe, that my kids can have as much as they want. I've been in beverage alcohol, packaged meats, frozen food. I've been in a lot of different CPG industries and different segments within the industry. And here it's one that I can look at any consumer in the eye and say, we are doing our absolute best to give you the highest quality product for a segment that you consume.
I think that's powerful for a packaged food. We did the same thing with our baby foods. So we want a packaged food that we don't have to limit, that literally she can have as much of it as she wants. There could be other reasons, cost or waste or whatever, but like the sheer ingredients, it's not, most packaged food, you're limiting it not just because of the cost, but because it's not that good for them. It's like, okay, you can have a little, all things in moderation, but like, let's get some quote real food in there. And our products are basically packaged real food. And if the kids want to eat them unlimited, they can.
And they can nourish their bodies in a way that you feel good about. And that is a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of the things that we are most proud of is just the way that we are received by consumers out there.
Mm-hmm. And how many you guys are in grocery in the dairy section?
Correct. So we're in the plant-based, milk section. It's typically adjacent to dairy. We're in over 12,000 stores now.
Okay. It's
So
it's refrigerated.
it is refrigerated. We
Yeah.
do have now a shelf-stable product in a lot of stores.
Oh, cool.
Our
On the
shelf-stable.
soy milk aisle or whatever.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the box out. So it's in the packaging. It's called Tetra.
Yeah.
And it's the packaging itself that makes it shelf-stable. We have the
Right.
same ingredient deck for our shelf-stable as well as our refrigerated. So we are proud. We just launched that right at 12 months ago now. So we're new into that side of it. And we saw that consumers were over there shopping and they didn't have a clean, simple ingredient organic option.
Right.
That's our desire.
That's like an aseptic
It is
process.
aseptic.
Okay. Yeah, our pouches are retort. Any CPG nerds out there?
Yeah. You have the Tetra packaging, you have the retort.
Two different ways to process. But
Correct.
yours are it's basically the same recipe, and then you
It is the same recipe. Yeah. So it's the
sterilize
same
it
recipe
and
and
put
it's
it in the pack, and it's
the packaging that makes it shelf stable.
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome. How else do you incorporate healthy food into your house?
It's such a pivot from the way I grew up. I mean, I'll never forget one of my favorite meals when I go to mom and dad's. We'll have mac and cheese with ground beef and a can of Rotel tomatoes in there. Like that was a meal growing up when it was mac and cheese day. What we've done now is there are greens in almost every single meal. What are the fresh foods that we can start with? And then we supplement with packaged foods. So be it, meats, fish. We eat a lot more fish than I used to. And we're more aware of the variety of foods. One of the things, especially with kids, and one of the struggles I have with both of my kids is getting them to try new foods. Look, their taste buds are ever evolving. Last week, my son made a statement. I like broccoli. He's been eating broccoli as the only vegetable he'll touch. So we always have some organic broccoli in the house because that's the only thing he'll touch. Where recently my daughter found out she really likes mushrooms. It's like, yeah, great. I'll order a mushroom pizza now. And she'll share it with me. Where 5 years ago, there's 0.0% chance.
Broccoli's making a comeback. My daughter really likes broccoli too. Broccoli's a common cartoon food. The cartoons, they'll be like, broccoli. So she'll joke about that. She'll say, I don't know why all these other kids don't like broccoli. It is so good. But there's a lot of vegetables she won't eat. So it's interesting you have greens. So you're saying whatever green they will eat,
it's on the table.
They'll find a way.
My daughter's become our salad maker. So my wife was out of town last night. She's like, what are we doing for dinner? I'm like, I'm going to grill up some hamburgers. She's like, can I make the salad? Of course.
That's nice.
So she's got full autonomy now. And I bet she's been making her salads for the last 2 years. So she makes a salad almost every day for lunch. That's a part of just how she chooses to nourish her body.
And that's just because she wants to. That's not part of the money app thing?
Correct. No, there are standards that we have. You're not going to just go put peanut butter and jelly and that's it. She might make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and she'll have a salad with it.
Yeah.
And how many 12-year-olds love a balsamic and olive oil dressing? She'll make her own.
It's amazing.
She loves
So
balsamic.
for her to get paid to make her lunch, it has to have a certain standard of food.
Correct.
And otherwise, yeah. That's cool.
And, while it may have been forced a couple of years ago, she's like, yeah, actually, I like my salads. So it's one of those things, as you continue to expose it, I think it's 7 times a kid has to try something before they'll actually like it. So making it available, giving them the opportunity to try it is so important.
I always like to ask what you wish you knew before becoming a dad. You've talked a lot about that already, but just to kind of sum up there, what do you wish you would have known if you could go back and tell yourself?
You're going to screw up. Ask for help. Be open to feedback. Ask those around you what they've done. Share your struggles. You don't have to internalize it. There are communities out there that will embrace you through the suck because a lot of it's bad. And I say bad, and it's bad because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what you're going through. So to find that support system of, I've been there. I've been there when my kids had a tantrum. I know how it feels inside because I struggle with that. to have that opportunity to engage with others and get the help, you're not alone. You might think you're an awesome person and you're an incredible business person. You're a great husband. If you're a first-time dad, it's hard. You have your second kid, it's harder because you've got the toddler now probably, and you've got this baby, and you're trying to balance both emotions because now the older wants more attention than the younger, and the younger needs more attention, and mom needs the space. It's hard to be a dad. And it's the most rewarding thing I've ever been blessed to do.
Thank you so much. There's a lot of honesty, vulnerability there. It takes a lot to get up publicly and say you made mistakes and weren't the dad you wanted to be. Yeah. Found that journey, and now here helping bring other dads to the light. It's very admirable.
It's all a work in process. I aspire to be a great dad someday, and I try to take steps every day to be a better dad and be a better husband and be a better leader of a company. That's the journey, right? Yeah. It's the journey that we have to enjoy. And when we can realize that we don't have to do it on our own and we can ask for help, if we're willing to receive the help, how much more can we do? Yeah. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a process where we have to be a great dad every day. We never just are a great dad.
Correct. It's a choice.
Yeah.
Like I tell my kids, it's always the right time to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And they're going to push every boundary you could ever imagine. Mm-hmm. Establish the language. With my kids, the parting thought is I will let them push the limits on sass, on sarcasm, and I will also let them know when they cross the line. Because they're testing boundaries. There's borders and boundaries. They're testing those boundaries. They're trying to figure out how far they can push, what's too far. And as parents, it's our job to guide them. Mm-hmm. If we can be the best guides possible as they develop into the humans they are, what a rewarding journey.
As we learn and as we let them guide us and challenge us and teach us things.
They teach our inner child so much.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Learned a lot from this and very inspired. And all you guys out there, stay dedicated.